What's up, guys? Dave Van Auken, Fight Bananas podcast. Felicia, Phenom, Spencer, UFC #1 contender featherweight. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on again. How are you?
Absolutely, doing great, doing great. It's feels good to get fights back on. Holidays were great. I love, we had a good Christmas, a good New Year's. It's kind of cool to turn the calendar to 2021. I felt like everyone's shoulders hopefully got a little bit okay, but it's kind of cool to get fights back on. It's a real busy week and weekend coming up, so we're excited. How about you?
Yeah, it's really nice to get back into like a routine.
Yeah,
you know, especially not being in fight camp, it's like you can kind of let the routine slip even more. So
sure.
I didn't have like the excuse that I'm training all the time, which is fine. So I was really happy to kind of have it all done. As much fun as I had enjoying the holidays. Now I kind of can stick to the routine again and not be all over the place. So that feels good.
I hear that. We always love you coming on. We always love your phenomenal fighter of picks of the week or picks of the card. Always love that. First, and before we kind of get into it, kind of the topic at hand. So you said no fight camp at all. There's nothing on the horizon for you, or no talks of something coming up soon, or no spring date of some sort.
Nothing being really talked about. I have reached out. Actually, New Year's Day, I reached out to
Okay.
Mick to just say, hey, keep me in mind.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get stuff going again. So yeah, that was. I know they had a break too. I think everyone in the
Yeah.
office over there at the UFC took a couple weeks off, rightfully so. And so now I'm just kind of training, getting better, and waiting. And I'm not in a rush. Like whatever happens, happens. But I'm just getting better and better. So I'm yeah, I'm happy. I'm good.
And
How about
kind
you?
of question that just came off the top of my head. So you fought at the Apex with no crowd when you did fight Amanda Nunes last summer, and now with Fight Island coming this week. Would that be something? Because I know I always love seeing after your fights, you always like to travel, and I see you and Todd travel together all the time. Would you like to have that Fight Island, story to kind of do it once
Yeah.
and go through that process, or so Fight Island for you?
Absolutely. Yeah, it would
Okay.
be awesome to go to Fight Island. I was hoping that they would stay longer. I think they're coming back after those
Yeah,
three events. So I was
yeah.
hoping they
I,
would just stay for the rest of the spring and I'd get on one of those cards.
the thing
Yeah,
I heard
hopefully.
March. I think they're going to be there for like 2 weeks again in March. That's what I've been hearing.
Oh, nice. Maybe I'll push for one of those days.
There you go. There you go. And it seems like they're, a couple featherweights won on the Dana White Contender Series. And I know they're trying to bring in an infused talent. Of course, we got Megan and Amanda coming up. I think UFC 259. I think off the top of my head, but
Yeah, there's a lot of hopefully good things happening, good things to look out for.
there we go. Very cool. Well, every time we have you on, it's always fun. We always laugh together. We've just been talking fights for over, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years now. I still remember first day walking into the jungle, and you're like, I think you were the co-main event for Invicta FC, and you're like, yeah, it's cool, but it's like one day I want to fight Chris Cyborg. It was just like, okay, that's cool. Like that came out of nowhere. Like that's awesome. And then it happened, and like ever since then, I was like, I'm just like so. Connected or attracted to like how you really like wanted that you attained that goal that seemed at the time so like out there, and it was just like, okay, I'm in Felicia's corner forever. Definitely
Thanks.
big fans of you and your husband Todd. So but I know you kind of want to talk about something different, something real serious, and it's kind of a hard transition, but we're going to try here, and kind of the floor is yours. We have a website ticking at the bottom, and I just hope people listen and people really, hear your message. And I'm just very, just honored, I guess, that you're talking it with me. So I just want to say thank you, and the floor is yours, and I'll try to chime in when I can. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we can be candid. So just to introduce it, I really would like to use my platform for something good. We always just talk about me, me. So I wanted to just take a moment to shed some light on opioids in, America, the world. I mean, I'm going to kind of focus on like statistically more Florida, but they call it a crisis a lot, and I don't like to think of things like crisis mode because then it's just panic, but this is like a very real thing. Opioid use and abuse, people struggle with it in all walks of life. I think probably everyone that's watching, no matter what, part of Florida or the world or what job you have or who you are, you probably either you yourself are dealing with it, or someone in your family or someone in your extended family is dealing with an opioid problem. That's what it is. It's something that we need to talk about, and kind of just to ease the stigma a little bit. A lot of people are ashamed to talk about it, or you know the whole topic is it's a lot of like shame around it when it doesn't need to
Right.
be like that.
Right.
So I really wanted to get across that there's not a lot that people feel like they can do, especially like if someone in your family is struggling, or you perceive that they're struggling with something. You kind of feel like, what can I do? And a lot of time it feels like, you know for me, I always felt like you can only help someone who wants to be helped, which is, I think, to some extent true. So you kind of feel lost at like, what can you even do for somebody? So
Right.
I will get into something a little bit later about a step that you can actually take to just have a little bit of peace of mind for what you can do. And we can get into that sooner rather than later. But I wanted to go just to kind of jump into a little bit of statistics I wrote down, just to kind of hone in like the problem and how fast it's actually growing. So we've heard about this for in the back of our mind for probably your whole life, but in Florida, this is all just from Florida CDC statistics. In 2012, so 8 years ago, the Florida record showed that only synthetic opioid deaths, so that means like fentanyl, that type of synthetic opioid is,
Right.
we had about just under 200 deaths in 2012, whereas the overall, like all types of opioids, so that's hydrocodone, that's meth, that's heroin, that's fentanyl, that's every type of opioid, those overdose were around 1,500 that year. So just to kind of put it into perspective,
Okay.
how fast the rise has been. In 2016, synthetics became the number one killer of the opioid deaths. So it jumped, instead of being just 200 people per year, it jumped to 1,500 with synthetic opioids alone. And that's what the total was in 2012. The
Wow.
total overdose deaths was 2,800 in that year. And it's basically exponentially rising. Like, when I look at the graphs and things like that, it's almost like doubling in some years, and it's just like going up and up and up. Like, we see a lot of bell curves nowadays, right? So
Right.
we
Right.
kind of understand what that growth looks like and how big of a problem that is.
Right.
And part of the reason is fentanyl. Once it came on the market, it's not, I want to say, well, it is something that started in hospitals. It had a use. It is so cheap to synthetically make that people are getting their whatever they would normally get, whether it is other drugs or usually drugs, heroin, that kind of thing. It's getting cut with fentanyl because it's cheap, and no one really knows it gets an effect that a lot of people think they want, but it's thousands of times more deadly than heroin. So if you're imagining someone having a problem and typically just taking like one drug, not that I'm condoning drug use,
Right.
whether it's heroin or meth or whatever it is, prescription drugs to, um, if there's, when we're talking about fentanyl overdose, it's in micrograms, which is hundreds of thousands. So there's 100,000 micrograms in like one typical dose of, taking a drug, a bump, or whatever it is.
Okay.
So if we're talking in that terms, it's so 100,000 micrograms is a typical dose. 25 micrograms, or I'm sorry, 50 micrograms of fentanyl put you at risk to kill you. So it's
Wow.
like 50 out of 100,000. So it's such a small percentage. It's like if you have 0.00 something percent of fentanyl in your dose that you don't know about, you can die.
Right.
Also, something that really struck me with, of course, people are becoming aware of fentanyl. I know, like for people who have a real problem, sometimes it's just a curiosity factor. Like they think they can just take less than what the last guy took and be all right. Just take,
Right.
do less and you'll be all right, which isn't the case because it's such a small amount can kill you, and it's something people don't really know or realize. Another thing that really struck me that I was told by a doctor is that if you have any amount of fentanyl and alcohol together, it somehow makes it more fatal. So if you're taking something with fentanyl and you're all right, if you take alcohol with it, then it changes completely. Something I don't understand, the chemical, whatever,
Sure, sure.
but something about that makes it even, like they said, from what I remember, it was 100% fatal. So any amount of fentanyl with any amount of alcohol is fatal. So
And I would
that
assume
is something that,
it's kind of
yeah.
common. Like I would not to talk what, offhand, but just like, if you go out drinking and then, sometimes some people that kind of leads, it's like a gateway drug. I know that sounds like so corny or funny to
No,
say,
no,
but it really is. Like sometimes then you might smoke that night or you might do something else that night because of drinking. So it seems like it, if that is alcohol and that is that deadly, that's a big problem.
it really is, and people aren't aware a lot of the time that whatever they're getting, even cocaine, even I don't want to make it sound like I'm dissing marijuana at all, but it has been found laced on marijuana because it makes it addicting and that whole thing. I don't want to say that that's like the main cause by any means because statistically it's just not, but it has happened. There has
Right.
been marijuana laced with fentanyl, which makes it more addicting or without any measurement, obviously deadly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's something that a lot of people don't necessarily think about, how because drugs aren't regulated, you don't really know what you're getting ever. You don't know unless you have,
Right.
which is part of why I really love what Oregon has started, or what Oregon did in the last election. They made everything decriminalized, and they have a lot of clinics where people can go get drugs under the supervision of a nurse. And that's a whole other conversation about how
Right.
this statistically those people actually, even though they're just getting free drugs on a regular basis, they're actually coming less and less and less, to the point where they recover just from having a safe environment. They just have structure,
Right.
and
Kind of
that's
like the
helping.
analogy I always say, like, I remember when I was a young teenager or even like 10 years old, 12-year-old boy, like anytime there were Skittles in the house, like candy, like I would sneak to wherever the candy is to get it. But now I'm a grown man and I can afford a lot of Skittles, but sometimes I don't buy them. Like I don't need them in the house. Like it seems like when you
Yeah.
can have it and it's not like a sneak thing or it's not like a thing that it's hard to get, it's you kind of lose the attraction of going after it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for that, and that would be a good way to look at it for a lot of people who are kind of recreationally doing things. On the other side, there's the recreational users, and then there's the addicted users, which there's a fine line. I think like a lot of people would argue there's no difference, but for me, with the people that I know and just how I view the world, I think that some people maybe do kind of recreationally do things and they don't have to do them. But for a lot of people, and maybe even the recreational users, is once you get addicted to something, you I don't want to say you lose control, but it's a lot harder to
Yeah.
make that even a decision, because it's not, you talk, there's some really, there's I forget the name, I should have looked it up. There's a documentary that just came out, I think on Netflix, and it's based in Vancouver, but they have really candid conversations with a lot of opioid users who are just so honest about it. Like they don't think it's cool. They regret they say that the only time it was a decision was the first time, and then after that it was a need. Like
Yeah.
they
Right.
physically only work, they work only to get the drugs, and a lot of them are homeless, or even the people who aren't. It's not just the homeless people you see on the street that are struggling with drug problems. It's a
Yeah.
lot of people with great families that are just trying, but they just don't know what to do.
Right.
So I think just having those open conversations and stopping the shame about it is the one thing. of course, policies and like the culture, the government can do different things, but I'm one step at a time, right?
Right,
so
right.
so that kind of brings me to, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say kind of where you're at, like the best thing, and we talked about it another thing we said, like the best way to get anything out there, of course, first and foremost, is just like communication, open line of communication, any kind of, good relationship, husband, wife, family, a gym, a member to a coach, any kind of respectful, good relationship starts with open communication. And kind of with this, even, drug abuse or drug problems, if you can have that open communication with somebody or someone or something, that can hopefully turn the corner or hopefully spin it into a positive light of getting over it in a weird way. So I just want to like open communication to me is like the first step, is the first thing. And that's kind of
Yeah.
like what we're doing here today is like, hey, we're talking about it. We're open in communication and we hope more people join.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And for people who maybe aren't feeling ready to talk to people that they love, there are groups out there. All you have to do is Google, your area, and there are groups of just people you don't ever have to see outside of that group, to just talk to, and like NA, Narcotics Anonymous, and that kind of thing. Um, and I'm sure there's a lot of different social networking groups that are like that. And the one thing that I can really say about those is it helps you feel accountable, like
Right.
talking about it. So whether it's with someone, if you don't want to get, if you're not ready to involve the people that are around you, talking to a stranger, saying it out loud, talking about your problem, or saying, I went 3 days, I went a week, I went this, it holds you accountable. It makes you feel like proud
Yeah.
to announce that to someone, to have like that buddy system, and you don't have to go it alone. So that's one thing that you can really do if you yourself are struggling, or someone you love is struggling, but they won't talk to you, is you know bring them, encourage them, that kind of thing. Sometimes they just need maybe a friend to go with too.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of different things. But
There
again,
is.
that kind of brings. Sorry, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, and just even with the last thing to say about like even I know sometimes life is tough and life is hard, especially in this pandemic era that we are in. It's hard to travel, it's hard to get out. We've traveled less as a family because of our girls and everything of that nature. Every circle or every group, there's always someone, that you can talk to or can lead, like I always joke about it, like not joke about it, but like I always say, like someone even that is not connected as my family or as a close circle member. But if you're like, hey, Dave, I need you to drive with me to Orlando and go fit, like I would do that. Like there's people in your communication circle that will do that for you. And you just have to reach out. Like if you're open about communicating, I will almost promise you that people will say yes. Like they will do it for you. There's
Yeah,
people that do care about you. So I just want to get that out there.
yeah. Probably more people than you think too.
Right.
People just don't know how to bring things up,
Right.
starting conversations, and people just don't know how to help. That's just the thing. Like how do you help? So they just sit by, and that's nothing wrong with that. It's just a feeling. But one more thing that I wanted to um, sort of bring awareness to, my second big intention here is there's it's a product called Narcan that is a nasal spray. It uses the drug is called, I'll just look down, nal naloxone. I always forget how to say it without looking at it. Either way, this product Narcan is a little box. It's like this big of a box. It's a nasal spray that you can use, and it actually stops and can reverse the an opioid overdose. So that includes any opioid, but only opioids, of course. So hydrocodone, meth, heroin, any opioid, it stops the receptors from taking. I don't know all the science behind it, but it stops an overdose and can reverse an overdose
Wow.
um, from the spray. And it's I have a box of it. I should have brought it out, but it's got a little like nasal spray. You just put it in their nose. If you see that they're overdosed, there's a lot of signs you can look online for how to see an overdose. It's honestly usually pretty obvious when
Right.
that happens. If someone's looking like that, yeah, you just spray it, and you can also then start, CPR, breathing, breathing into their mouth if they're not breathing or responsive, but still, you still need to call 911 because it is still an emergency. It only lasts about 30 minutes to maximum 90 minutes, and then they can still overdose after. Like, it's not end
Right,
all be
right,
all. Like, you still need to call 911, but this can save a life.
right,
Um, this is something where if you're on scene, if you're at a party, if you live with someone, if you know someone, and not just if you are around it. So if even if you're not around drugs being openly used, if that's not in your circle, if you just know anybody that might be, encountering drugs of the, opioids, I would just say get it. You can get Narcan for free. I'll talk about that later. Um, but just having it, I keep mine in my glove box in my car, or my
right,
center console, because I'm home, I have it. If I'm out, I have it. So, and it's just there, it's just a little box. It doesn't take up much room, but I know exactly where it is. Because if you're on scene, people only have minutes. They have, I don't know, I think it's like 5 minutes or something like that. If they don't have oxygen, maybe 8 minutes, then you're brain dead. Like, there's nothing else you can do once it's been too long. So being around, being close enough to be the person to administer that can literally save a life. So again, you'd have to, it's recommended to use it, to breathe, to CPR, like breathe into their mouth. After a couple minutes, if there's no response, there's 2 doses per package, so that's nice. But by then, hopefully, emergency services would be there, and it won't hurt anybody. It's not going to hurt anybody, even if you weren't overdosing.
oh
If I
yeah,
did
that
it
was
to
my
myself right
question.
now,
So if
it
it was like a
it
false
won't hurt you.
overdose and you did it, it wouldn't make
No.
more problems or pain happen.
Not at all. From
Okay.
what I understand, you could, not that you should, but from what I understand, you could give it to yourself right now and nothing
Yeah.
happens, because the only thing that this treatment, this drug does is stop opioids. So if you don't have it's nothing. Just wasted
Right.
a dose, like, so it's no risk involved. So if you think it's happening, just do it.
Right.
Um, and and I was saying a second ago, even if it's not in your circle, if you even just, like, I know almost everyone probably has one person that they are around, that when they're not around them, they might be doing this, like
I
if
was
you
gonna
have
I
a
was gonna
sibling,
comment on that as well. Like,
you
you
know,
never know. Like you said, maybe that person isn't in an open communication and hasn't really did that first step, and you're like, yeah, no one in my group does that kind of stuff. I
yeah,
bet you more likely
or
there
just not
is.
around you.
Yeah.
Especially, like, I'm speaking to you, if you are, obviously, if you have people in your group doing it around you, obviously I would say you need to have Narcan on hand, because everyone should know about this. Everyone should be aware of this, so that in any situation you can use it. But even if you just know someone that you're around who you think would never have this around you, it doesn't mean that they didn't do something before they came to see you. And an
Right.
overdose doesn't always happen as soon as they take a drug. An overdose can happen I think up to an hour after. I'm not sure. I'd have to talk to someone again about that.
Okay.
But someone can be at their house, do a drug, come to see you, and then overdose.
Right.
What happened? Like,
Yeah.
there's not an exact time for when that happens, and that was something that recently took me by surprise. So, and you never know. Even if you just drive by an area where people are probably using drugs when you go to work every day, you might save a life one day if you just have it in your car and you just happen to be at the right place at the right time.
Right. Right.
So that kind of thing is such an easy thing to have to impact someone hugely, and sometimes the potential, the close call that someone has might be enough to snap them out of, needing to get help. A lot of the time,
Right.
people who almost die, they really turn things around, and not all the time, but so you can't count anyone out just because they have a problem. You know, they still deserve a second chance, and you can be the person to give a second chance to somebody. If you know, just thinking about emergency preparedness. You know, we
Yeah.
have batteries when the hurricanes come. Why don't we have Narcan in our car for potential overdose when numbers are just spiking, you know, every year? So
Right.
so places you can get Narcan, and there's lots of different brands of the naloxone, which is the drug that stops an overdose. There's injections, but the easiest thing to have on hand is the nasal spray, which the brand name is Narcan. You can get it like any pharmacy. Most pharmacies, like if you go to your CVS, your Walgreens, you can get it. You just have to pay for it without a prescription. Though there's no prescription needed for Narcan, for naloxone. You can also get it for free in every county in Florida. So I looked, there's a website, the one scrolling, isafefl.com, has a list of places you can go in every county to get free Narcan. You just walk in, just just get some. So
Yeah.
it's
Like,
really that simple. And there's other places too that aren't on that website. Like the website has places in where I'm at in Orange County, but I actually went somewhere else. I Googled, just Google it. Where can I get Narcan in wherever you're at? And it's going to come up with places that
right.
offer it for free.
Right.
So.
I'm so happy. We talked about this. Like I said, you just never know. One person can see this one. I'm definitely going to go get it. With kids and sometimes life is so busy. But you never know. It's worth it. I looked it up. It's 20 minutes from my house. Like what's 20 minutes one way. I can go get a Dunkin' Donuts coffee, get it, and come back to work. And 40 minutes out of your day literally could save a life, which is invaluable. And especially someone you love dearly or a friend of that nature. It's just, it's so important and vital to do. So that's my one push on everything here today. Is just go get it. I know life's hard, life's busy. It was a tough 2020. It's been great 2021. I'm trying to be as positive person. 2021 is gonna be really good. So just like this could be another positive thing for 2021. And a weird way, I know like when people make donations at a Goodwill, sometimes I know this sounds maybe bad, but like they're doing it to like hopefully help people at Goodwill, but it makes you feel good. It's like, wow, I donated this to me. Like I got good mojo. I feel good about it. And I think if you go get it, I think you'll feel good about it. I think there will be good mojo. It'll make you feel good as well. And I just think it's one of those things you just go do it. Like take 20 minutes, 30 minutes out of your day and go do it.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine knowing about it, which a lot of people just don't know about Narcan, or, that this is even a thing. But just imagine knowing about it or even not knowing about it, and then being in a situation, as crazy as it seems, being in a situation where it could have saved a life and then you didn't. There's a level of guilt that you shouldn't have, but you probably would have, that would be involved with. So, it's always better safe than sorry, and being prepared is always, it's always.
Oh, you froze on me. Guys, we're talking with Felicia Spencer, and I think it was you're there. You froze on me for a second. Maybe it was
just that was it too.
Yeah,
that was all I had to say.
That was perfect. No, just thank you so much. UFC fighter, of Invicta FC champion, fought Amanda Nunes, UFC 250 in one of the biggest main events and one of the biggest cards of the year. And with your platform to bring this to light is just such I think a heroic thing for you to do. And I just want to say thank you so much. And like I said, hopefully if it just helps one person, if one person gets it, I think it's a job well done on your part. And I'm just so honored that you came on and we talked about it and got it out there. And, maybe we'll continue this another time. Maybe we'll continue this with another fighter. Maybe we'll continue this with a family member of one of us. So we'll kind of keep going with the conversation. And I'm just thankful that you came on and did this.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you giving me the, platform to talk about it. And I mean, I want to learn more and do more and talk about it more. So if there's anyone out there that has experience in the, in this issue, paramedic or doctor or police officer or anyone that has like good information that I can use to help talk about it, that would be, just reach out to me on social media. Or if if anyone just wants to talk about dealing with their own problem, or how to approach a loved one with this problem, anyone like that, just reach out. That's all you have to do,
Yeah.
is reach out. Me or anybody, people are willing to talk about this. It's hard to start a conversation about. So
Yeah.
be the one to start the conversation. It's that's the first step, so just do it.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's at the bottom, isavefl.com. Head there. That's the first step. Do that and then see where you got to go. Make sure you get it. Reach up the conversation. Maybe if it's not yourself, but you maybe think of an inkling of someone, maybe reach out, try to talk to them, but at least get it. And then that's the first step. And then we'll take it from there. But Felicia Spencer,
Exactly.
thank you so much. Always appreciate you. We can't wait to hear your phenomenal fighters of the week and the weekend coming up. A lot of big shows coming up. So we're so thankful for you, and we'll talk to you real soon. Appreciate your time like always.
All right, awesome. Thank you again. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Felicia. Have a good day.